So I've said it before and I'll say it again. I do not believe in coincidence. I don't necessarily know why things happen, but coincidental, I think not. So I want to talk about a few things that are not coincidental, in my opinion, really quick. So some of y'all might remember me talking about the United States birth card, which is the Jack of Diamonds, the salesperson card. And it says the salesperson card, these people are sharp, clever, and always make a good living using their wit and charm. They are very independent and creative and operate as much from their instincts as they do from their quick and creative minds. The Jack of Diamonds has great power to persuade others. Okay, another important thing, actually the most important thing about this right here, is that the United States birth card is ruled by Uranus and Neptune. Okay, and some of y'all might know that we are in a time where Saturn is in Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, and that's a great teacher, right? And Pluto just entered Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So, and there's obviously like a mass awakening happening. And also, the United States just went through its Pluto return. So its Pluto was in Capricorn when it was, created. And it's going to go back into Capricorn for a short while, I think in September, and it's going through the election, so I don't think that's coincidental at all either. But let's just talk about a few other things. Now, this book right here, it's just based on your birthday, not a birth time or anything like that, but it is usually pretty connected to your birth chart nonetheless. And right here, you can see the dominant influences in the United States the day it became a country are Uranus, Neptune, and Jupiter. So, there's really kind of no denying that, I would say. So all Jacks in their lifetime at some point are being called to transform into kings, right? They don't want to stay Jacks their whole life, but they can sometimes be kind of immature. They don't really want to take all the responsibility, or maybe they just want to be behind the scenes manipulating things, just getting to be their fun, charming selves. But at some point, they're going to have to make a transformation. And I want to read this right here. It says, because the Jack of Diamonds sits in the Uranus-Neptune position of the life spread, we see a curious mixture of influences. As you may know, we are currently in the twilight zone between the Piscean and Aquarius age, which are ruled by Neptune and Uranus, respectively. This may be telling us that the U.S. was meant to be a country to help lead the world through this transition from the I believe generation of Pisces to the I know generation of Aquarius. Another interpretation of Uranus and Neptune position is the Jack of Diamonds represents the ideal, which is Neptune, of personal freedom, Aquarius. Okay, so the U.S. was founded by people who escaped the persecution and censorship found in Europe for their, religious freedoms and freedom of speech. And now we know that our religious freedoms and freedom of speech are kind of under attack by our leaders, right? I've also talked about this right here, this Uranus conjunct Neptune. So that conjunction only happens like every 140 something years, and it happened in the mid 80s, to the late 80s to the mid 90s, the rising of consciousness. Okay, so Uranus conjunct Neptune, and it was in Capricorn. So that's like governments, institutions, and we, have definitely seen how Uranus also rules over the internet. So we've seen how in 93 the the World Wide Web was created. So I don't think that's a coincidence at all. And let's talk about this. Now, it says these children will have a strong connection to the collective consciousness, and there might be potential leading to strong nationalist tendencies in countries with robust religious, racial, political, and social structures. However, at this time, the emergence of a charismatic demagoguist manipulating the masses is unlikely. Instead, those influenced by this conjunction will possess a sense of social responsibility and a strong desire to engage in social community. They will be driven by their ideals of brotherhood and revolutionary mysticism, striving for the betterment of all. Personal freedoms and rights will hold great value, and there will be a profound shift in the understanding of leadership, moving away from the traditional model of a powerful leader and its followers. The model of a powerful leader and its followers. Individuals born with this aspect will inherently distrust leaders as they possess an intuitive perception of their true motivations and characteristics. So the skepticism will lead to a reevaluation of power and authority in society if personal rights and freedoms are threatened. So those influenced by this aspect are willing to fight for the preservation of those things. So in my Love Cards book, it will basically predict how your relationships would probably play out by the influences in your compatibility. So the Jack of Diamonds here, when you run it against Donald Trump's birth card, first of all, the very strongest connection is a Pluto in the spiritual realm connection. And then the second connection is a Saturn connection. So, given that Donald Trump came into power while the United States was going through its Pluto return, I don't think that that's a coincidence. Now, some of y'all might remember how I talked about how I believe Salvador Dali predicted COVID. You know, Salvador Dali said that he basically, God gave him visions and in his dreams, and he would immediately paint what he had dreamt. This one right here is called like bees flying around a pomegranate seconds before awakening or something like that. So I think that 2020 was a really kickstart on the mass awakening for a lot of people. And so we have the pomegranate over here. I'll talk about that more later. But then we have this goldfish, which is from, you know, an Asian descent. And then we got these tigers, the Tiger King. We have that elephant up there, and it's just, you know, it's up there and they don't have no worries while this world's down here all vulnerable and shit. Okay, and also there's a monoglyph. I don't know if that's what those are called, but y'all might remember while Saturn was in Aquarius, that monoglyph, or I think that's what it's called, in Georgia was like destroyed. And then we also had Jeffrey Epstein Island, the whole island thing, right? And there's that island back there. So that all happened while Saturn was in Aquarius. And then this girl, you can't see it really great here, but she had this little gun thing. It's like going into her arm, kind of like a shot, right? Now, this is another Salvador Dali painting called The Great Masturbator. You know, when we talk about like the bug's life, where, you know, they learn that they can overpower the grasshoppers because there's more of them, right? And this kind of looks like the shape of the United States to me. Like I said, these are just my interpretations. But there they have that big grasshopper like covering its mouth. But if you look closely, there's a bunch of ants, and I think they're attacking. And it's the year of the dragon, right? And there's a little dragon up there. Now here's another thing that I think is kind of predicting something. So some of y'all might have heard of the story Baron Trump's Underground Adventure, or whatever it is, by this Ingersoll Lockwood. He also wrote this book, The Last 1900, or The Last President. And oddly enough, 1900, Saturn was in Capricorn. When Donald Trump was elected president, Saturn was in Capricorn. So, you know, does this mean like he might get reelected and shit's gonna hit the fan even worse than it is right now? And, you know, maybe the people will like take over and we'll throw out the whole government. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy because in this book, the people are marching up Fifth Avenue in New York, and they're going to riot and, like, I guess attack rich people. I haven't read it, but somebody I know kind of told me the gist of it. So, Now, one lesson I feel like sources really taught me in the past few years is that we do help co-create our reality, and we do have, you know, free will. While things might be predestination, we still have the free will to act upon the right things. And this is a Salvador Dali painting, and it just kind of like made me feel like there's like just multiple realities, right? And so maybe in one of them we do the right thing, maybe we don't. And we'll have to figure out what those things are, but we definitely have a choice. Now, as always, I really hope to like explain that I am trying to give hope that we can do better, be better, and I think that's what we're supposed to do. It's just like in all the prophecies that I've read, you know, they're telling them like, hey, we can make a different choice. Like, God won't punish you if you repent, basically. And the universe, like, it just wants us to stop these karmic cycles, right? Anyways, so yeah, I just don't think that any of these things are coincidental, right?